Callie Davis, your host of the Untold Miracles podcast, and I'm so excited. Today we have a very special guest. He's a retired NBA player who won 2 NBA championships with the Miami Heat. He's an NCAA champion in 2001 with my favorite college basketball team, the Duke Blue Devils. He's had more awards than I have time to name, and he's a husband to his high school sweetheart, Heidi, and father to Zeke and Eloise. Mr. Shane Battier, welcome to the podcast.
Callie, thanks for having me.
You know, I'm so excited to talk to you. We actually got to recently spend time together raising $2.2 million for Children's Miracle Network hospitals at the Ace Hardware Golf Shootout. And you also have been an amazing supporter of our children's hospital in Miami, Nicholas Children's Hospital. So I want to thank you, before we start, for all you do to support Children's Miracle Network hospitals.
Well, if you spend any amount of time around the kids at CMH hospitals, you just know it's one of the worthiest causes that we can be a part of, and we're proud to support the kids and the hospitals doing amazing work.
Shane, on this podcast, we talk about miracles. And there are millions of kids around the country who love the game of basketball, who want to make it to the collegiate level, let alone the NBA. You were picked 6th in the first round of the NBA draft in 2001. Tell me, were there any miracles or miracle workers involved in making it to the college basketball level and the NBA?
Oh, there was a miracle every day. Look, I was just a kid who was lucky to have 2 amazing parents and be part of a family that loved me and supported me every step of the way. And that is a miracle in itself. But, you know, I did not grow up with much. My family always had enough because we had enough love. And growing up in Detroit, Michigan, no one really gave me a shot to reach my dream of becoming a professional basketball player, of going to a school like Duke University. And that was my dream. That was my dream at a really young age. And I knew that's what I wanted to accomplish. But if you looked at the statistics and maybe my parents' economic standing, the odds were against me. And so, I thought it was an absolute miracle to make it like I did. I still pinch myself and say, well, did I really get to experience all the things that I have in my life, in my basketball career, and in my life? I'm one lucky guy.
In the NBA, there's less than 500 players, and there's millions who want to make it to that level. What would you say to a kid that wants to make it to that level? How did you do it?
Well, the most important thing that I tell every kid is you have to believe in yourself first. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. Like I said, I was a buck-toothed, skinny kid with big ears and big feet. And, I failed the eyeball test in every way. And I just didn't look like a player. I was a little uncoordinated. I was a little goofy looking. I never had a girlfriend. Girls thought I was goofy looking. But the one thing that I always did, I always believed in myself. And I knew that as long as I controlled the things that I had control over, and that was my attitude, my work ethic, my discipline, my passion, my consistency. And those are things that didn't matter how tall I was, how short I was, how slow I was, or how much money my parents made, where I lived. Those are the things I focused on every single day. And that became my habit. Control the things that I could control. That was my mantra from day one to the last day I played in the NBA.
Tell me what it was like when you were in 8th grade and you were 6'7". What was that like fitting in, and how did you deal with the challenges of that?
This is before the internet, and so you can imagine how difficult it was to find shoes and to find clothes. Not now. I can go on any online store and get every type of shoe and shirt that fits. Back in the day, my mom had to call around metropolitan Detroit and say, hey, do you have a size 15 pair of dress shoes? And they said, yeah. And she said, hold it, we're going to drive a half an hour to go get them. And so, I was always tall. I was 6 feet in 6th grade. I was 6'4" in 7th grade when I met my wife, Heidi. And I was 6'8" in 8th grade. And so, I always grew up just being large and used to people sort of staring at me, and because people are not used to seeing tall people. And so I always sort of stuck out like a sore thumb.
Especially young, tall people.
Yeah, no, it's unnerving. And, I grew up in a predominantly white part of Detroit. My dad is black. My mom is white. And so I was growing up as a mixed kid, a biracial kid, being 6'8", I just never fit in. I never fit in. And when I was young, I really struggled with that. When you're a kid, you just want to be like everybody else, and you don't want to be different. But I understood that being different became a strength, and being different and not everyone like everyone else is cool, and that's what gives you flavor, and it really shaped who I was. And now I love the fact that I was big and goofy and awkward and a different color, and no one could relate to me. I think it was the most defining aspect of my childhood.
Wow, thanks for sharing that, because I'm sure there are a lot of kids out there that, are going through some challenging times and they don't fit in and they don't know if things are going to get better. But I think you are a really great example of, things are going to be okay. You can achieve your dreams. Shane, in 2010, you were chosen as the 7th smartest athlete in the Sporting News. So clearly, from a very young age, academic success was important to you. Can you tell me what drove your motivation for that and why?
I was very, 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 very lucky to have parents who stressed learning. My parents didn't graduate from university, but they always made sure I had books around. They always made sure that they read to me. And so I learned to enjoy learning at an early age. And I always had a curiosity about the world. And I always just want to learn more and try new things. And that was the best gift my parents could ever give to me, is the love of learning. And again, I go back to control what you can control. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and that's okay. What I said to myself, I said, you know what, I'm going to give it my best every single day, and I will never fail a test. I'll never fail a quiz for lack of preparation, for lack of work, for lack of listening in class, for lack of discipline. And so all the things that I used in my basketball career, I used in school to equal success. And it, the kids who are listening, there is no magic formula. It's hard work. It's belief. It's dedication. It's consistency. Again, controlling the things that you control, you can be successful in anything you want to accomplish.
Tell me how you brought that academic success and smarts to the game of basketball, because I know you were known as someone who really studied your opponents, and you were able to look at the statistics and, be prepared to guard them based on how you were able to calculate all of that.
The good Lord did not bless me with amazing athleticism or quickness or speed. And that's why so many people counted me out. But one thing that I could do on the basketball floor, I could think every single play. And that sounds kind of weird to say, but I could really concentrate and focus on every single play that I played when I was on the basketball court. I never took plays off mentally. And part of that was understanding my opponent's weaknesses, understanding my opponent's strengths, understanding my weaknesses and my strengths, and playing the game according to those. And for me, it took a lot of study. And so it was almost like school. And the scouting reports that I would read, I would treat it like I was studying for a big exam. And I would know Kobe Bryant better than Kobe Bryant knew Kobe Bryant. And it all came down to using the data and the analytics and the studies of who players were statistically.
Well, what I love is not only were you able to do that while you were playing in the league, but you are currently in the front office for the Miami Heat. Tell me what you're doing for them now.
Well, I'm doing the same thing that I did when I played, trying to leverage big data and statistics to try to win some basketball games. And it's a fun world in the NBA now. The NBA traditionally has not been a league or a place where big data has been embraced, and that's changed. And people understand better ways to identify talent and identify what wins games and what loses games, all based on the statistics of basketball. And so it's a really fun job to look at an old game in a new way, and it keeps me connected with the game. And so I'm very lucky to be in this position.
Shane, while you played, you had a few different challenges. You had a season-ending injury. You were traded a couple of times. What did you learn most from the adversity?
I was lucky to play for, in my humble opinion, the greatest basketball coach alive, and that's Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K at Duke University. Mm-hmm. And his main message to us was the power of the next play. And in basketball and in life, you're going to face adversity. You're going to have success. But it's the people who are able to move on from both success and from adversity the quickest and the fastest, and sort of attack that next challenge, that next problem with an enthusiasm, with a dedication, with a passion, regardless if you had success or failure. Those are the people who win championships, and those are the people who have continual success. And so, look, life is tough, and we all go through down times, and life can be great. We all have great times. But how do you? What's next? What's next? What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? And if you can get that mindset of, okay, I've accomplished or I failed, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be great. I'm going to give it up my all. I promise you will have success.
Can you tell me how you were recruited to go to Duke and what other schools were looking at you and how you made that decision? Were there any miracles involved in that choice?
Well, the fact that, I was a poor kid from Birmingham, Michigan, and I had the pick of really any college I wanted to go to. That's an amazing miracle. But I was lucky to have success in high school, and I had coaches like Roy Williams and Tom Izzo and Coach K and Dean Smith recruit me out of high school, and my final 5 schools were Michigan, Michigan State, Duke, North Carolina, and Kansas. But in the end, the mix of going to Duke University, which is a top 10 school in the country, and Duke basketball is a top 10 basketball program in the country. It just couldn't be beat. And in life, you hope you make good decisions, but going to Duke was one of the best decisions of my life.
I know we are almost out of time, but I do have a couple quick fire questions for you before we end. What was your favorite game of your career?
My favorite game is probably, it's a tie between the 2001 NCAA championship against Arizona, won the championship, and 2013 NBA Finals, Game 7 against the San Antonio Spurs, where I hit 6 3-pointers and we win the championship.
Wow. What is the most memorable shot of your career?
Again, it was probably in 2013 against the San Antonio Spurs. My 6th 3-pointer of that game, it was from the corner. I'll never forget it. It put us up, I think, 4 points, and that was one of the key shots late in the game.
If your life could be summed up by a movie title, what would the movie title be?
Oh, man. Blessed. Blessed.
That's so great. If you could go to lunch with anyone tomorrow, who would it be?
I love innovators, and I think it'd be really cool to sit down with Elon Musk and pick his brain to see how he thinks. So he's a guy I respect, and he's changing the world.
What's the best news you've ever received in your life?
Best news I've ever received in my life were the days that the doctors told me that my daughter Eloise and my son Zeke were healthy and happy, and Mom was recovering healthfully and happy. That's the best news I've ever received.
This is a kind of a loaded question. You may not be able to answer it, but who's one of your favorite teammates and why?
My favorite teammate of all time is my college roommate, Mike Dunleavy. We had an amazing time at Duke, and we're just similar. We're just 2 basketball nerds, and we enjoy good friends and good food and basketball, and he's my guy. He's my guy. He's a heck of a player and even a better teammate. Who's
your favorite person to defend?
Oh, I love playing Kobe. Kobe was the best because he was the best player I played against. Because he was so tough mentally. Mentally, one of the few guys that I couldn't crack mentally. It wasn't fun guarding Kobe, but it was the ultimate challenge.
And what's the biggest miracle that's happened in your life?
Finding and marrying the woman of my dreams and having 2 amazing, healthy kids is an absolute miracle. And if I could write the script of my life, I couldn't imagine writing a better script than having the amazing family that I do. I'm blessed and I'm lucky, and I think that's a miracle in my book.
With all that you've accomplished, Shane, in your life, what motivates you every day for greatness?
I live by a simple phrase, and something I teach my kids, and is do well, do good. And in life, you do the best you can with what you got. And all the things I talked about before with hard work and dedication and passion, you do the best you can. And if it has nothing to do with money, but you just do the best you can with what you got. But that success is hollow if you don't share that success with other people and raise them up. And so our work through the Battier Take Charge Foundation, which provides educational opportunities for at-risk kids, is some of our my wife Heidi and I's most meaningful work, because you're doing good, using the platform of doing well in basketball to help others. So do well, do good is what I try to embody every day.
I love it. And the final question, I ask this to all our guests. If there were 3 miracles that you could create in the world today, what would that look like for you?
Yeah, if there were 3 miracles, I would hope that everyone has enough to eat at the end of the day. There are a lot of people in the world who just don't have enough to eat every day. And that's the most basic part of being a human. I wish everyone had the miracle of love in their life. And a lot of people go through life without really, really being loved or loving someone else. And I think that's an amazing gift someone can give. And I wish that all illnesses could be cured. No one deserves to go through life being hurt or suffering. So those are 3 miracles that if I could wave a magic wand, those are 3 things that I would try to cure.
I love it. Well, Shane, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for all you do to make the world a better place and create miracles for everyone around you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Good to talk to you, Shane. Thanks so much. It's time to round up for kids at Ace Hardware. The annual Ace Hardware Spring Roundup is going on now through April 30th. At participating Ace Hardware locations, you can donate to your local Children's Miracle Network hospital when you round up your purchase. All the funds raised in this campaign directly benefit the CMN hospital in your area. Round up for kids today.